Good day. Thank you for tuning in to this 2019 General Election Candidate Forum for Olympia City Council Position Number 1, the Mayor. The forum is presented by the League of Women Voters of Thurston County and the Thurston Community Media. The League is a nonprofit organization that encourages informed and active participation of citizens in their government. The League neither supports nor opposes candidates or parties. We are nonpartisan. The League registers new voters, works to get out the vote, studies issues, and then advocates for its position with governing bodies. Despite its name, the League is open to both men and women of the age 16 and up. I'm Annabelle Kirshner from the League, and I'll be moderating this forum for candidates for Olympia Council Position Number 1. We'll begin with opening statements from the candidates, beginning with Cheryl Shelby.
Hi, I'm your Olympia Mayor, Cheryl Selby. I'm excited to run for re-election because I'm proud to be an Olympian. I intentionally chose to move here to raise my family over 25 years ago. I love this community and I'm hopeful for its future. I'm running for re-election because I'm not done creating the vitality we all desire for our city. There's a lot at stake over the next 4 years, and I'm ready to fight for the health and safety of Olympia while balancing competing priorities. I feel that I'm best qualified to do that because I bring a unique perspective to all my decision making. I'm the only one on council that has owned a retail business downtown, and my additional experience includes decades of volunteer and service on multiple nonprofit boards that related to affordable housing, the local arts, child safety, and the economy. I'm also the only council member that has worked for the city that I now serve as an elected official. All told, I've dedicated a quarter century to enhancing the wonderful appeal our town holds not only for visitors, but also upholding the livability for our residents. Thanks to you, my campaign is off to an amazing start. I'm honored to have the support of a vast array of bipartisan elected officials, every current mayor in Thurston County, the Olympia firefighters, numerous trade unions, and many of your friends and neighbors. I've also received more individual contributions than any other candidate, and my supporters have knocked on thousands of doors with me. You can visit my campaign, electcherylselby.com, for a thorough list of my policy statements and a complete list of endorsements. Yes, we have major challenges facing our city, but I believe that my powerful blend of public, private, nonprofit, and now elected experience gives me the tools necessary to solve these issues in a collaborative and strategic manner. I'd appreciate your support for my re-election in the November 5th general election. Thank you.
Cheryl, the first question. Beginning in 2016, the city has granted 4 multifamily dwelling tax 8-year exemptions for market rate housing in the downtown core, worth over $3 million over an 8-year period. How do you harmonize these exemptions with the loss of income for needed city services? How do you propose to resolve these issues?
Thanks, Annabelle. So you're referring to the multifamily tax exemption that the City of Olympia has put in place about 15 years ago to help jumpstart some development downtown. We had been 30 years without any type of private investment in residential housing downtown. So we felt that that was one tool in our toolbox to encourage some movement in that direction because we are in the middle of a housing crisis. So we finally got some action since 2016, but it was like 10 years before that happened. City Council has a Land Use and Environment Committee that is looking at the 8-year tax exemption to see if we have enough proof of concept to see if we can modify that. I also want to look at the 12-year multifamily tax exemption, see how we can encourage that for more affordable housing. That is a 12-year exemption for affordability. And we haven't had much movement in that area for that exemption. I feel very confident that we will be able to balance the needs of not just the supply, to balance the need for housing. That's the economy that, the basic 101 that, supply and demand. And so we're definitely short on supply, and whatever we can do to encourage more residential housing, we need to do it.
During the recent legislative session, the Olympia City Council urged state legislators to enact state laws limiting the ability of citizens to legally challenge certain city ordinances they believe to be illegal and detrimental to their neighborhoods. Do you support this kind of legislation, and if so, why?
Thank you. Yes, I do. Our council voted 7-0 to support the missing middle ordinances that are now being held up in court. But the House Bill 1923, which I believe is what you're referencing, we did speak in support of because it would help other communities. We're being a leader in this area, but it would help other communities that follow us to create more sensitive infill in established neighborhoods. It seems frightening to think about change within single-family housing zoning, but it's important that we look at the past actually to move forward. And up until right after World War II, a lot of neighborhoods were built with more flexibility around zoning. There's in South Cap is a great example. There's duplexes, fourplexes, there's apartment buildings on Capitol Way within a block of single-family homes and no additional parking requirements. And so somehow it used to work, and I think it can work again. And it's something we need to be able to create flexibility.
Thank you, Cheryl. Our third question, and Cheryl, you will have 2 minutes. How can the city influence developers to require innovative eco-building designs that go beyond the low-impact guidelines and include elements such as common areas that protect our watersheds and that preserve a neighborhood character?
Thanks, Annabelle. So you referenced our low-impact design development requirements that we recently adopted through our land use policies. Again, we were a leader in that. So going beyond that at this point would be, I think, premature to require additional green building within the whole city. We are working currently on looking at doing an eco-district pilot project around the library. We have a piece of property there that some local citizens and advocates are encouraging us to use that as a pilot so that we can show a proof of concept and then use that to spread it out into other areas. So looking at eco-districts is something that is top of mind for this council, but we want to scale it in a way that's actually implementable.
Where do things stand now in the investigation of the 2018 death of Yvonne McDonald? Given that the case has not been solved, what steps should the city be taking to ensure that the public and the Black community in particular is kept updated, as well as ensuring that justice will be done?
Nobody is satisfied with the result. We don't know enough to make any kind of conclusions. And so that's where we need the help of this community. The case is open. We've assigned a new detective who's combed through all the evidence again. The coroner has done a very thorough investigation into all of the medical piece of it that the coroner's office is responsible for. We don't have satisfying answers. It's a tragedy. It's a community tragedy. We feel horrible for the family. The sisters are closely involved with the meeting with the police department and our city manager, and we are just asking anyone out there with any additional information to come forward.
How do you answer citizen complaints that developments are being approved without consideration of the environmental impacts to our watersheds or timely notice to neighborhoods? What will you do to bring informed deliberation of environmental impacts and transparency to the development process?
Good question. It's something that we struggle with as a council, and we're not unique. It's really everywhere. It's hard to get information out nowadays. We don't have necessarily a robust local newspaper anymore. People are getting their information in a lot of different ways, and so we're trying to be creative in our outreach so that when we do have any kind of issues that need to be brought forward to the public, that we're doing it in kind of a broad net across social media, our printed newspaper, and other kinds of, most of it's online now. And so it's a constant struggle to bring our community along as we grow. That said, our environmental restrictions around development, I think, are in keeping with the environmental impacts and their low impact development regulations that were passed a couple of years ago are very stringent. And so growth is hard, and we are growing, and it's difficult to balance the needs of the existing community with the needs of the folks that are moving here. And I wish I had a good answer for you, but people are still going to be moving here. We're talking about climate refugees coming from Southern California and Arizona, and other people getting pushed out of King County and Pierce County coming this direction. So I'm hopeful that with the growth management policies that we have in place, that we can grow with grace and accept these folks within our existing infrastructure, so that does lessen the impacts on our environment.
Thank you. It is now time for closing statements. You will have 1 minute for a closing statement. Cheryl.
As your mayor, I'm practical, open-minded, optimistic, and collaborative. I bring strong leadership skills, a solid sense of community integrity, and a record of achievement to my role. As political dysfunction spreads across our country from D.C., these qualities are more important than ever in local government, and that's why I'm running for re-election as mayor. I've consistently supported a well-trained police force and firefighters, excellent public services, climate action, and economic vitality for all. Communities can often get discouraged by difficult challenges like homelessness, but we must not lose sight of what makes Olympia great: strong neighborhoods, thriving businesses, a vibrant arts scene, and residents who work together with passion. After serving 6 years on council, I'm still energized by opportunities to bring us together to find solutions that make Olympia healthier, more inclusive, and environmentally resilient. I'd be honored to receive your vote on November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you both for participating in the League of Women Voters election forum in the City Council position of number 1 for mayor. We encourage viewers to vote in the general election. This is on November 5th. Remember, ballots are postage free, so just put it in the mail. The League particularly wants to thank Thurston Community Media for their ongoing support and assistance. Thank you.